Hi guys, just a technique I want to kind of call a little bit of bullshit on. In particular, it's a front choke defense. You know, when we talked about attacking the neck and we realized how valuable that is, you've got to realize, you know, it's also very dangerous if you're caught in that situation. So Zach, if Zach can come out and give me a hand in a second, what I want to do is just look at what I've seen as and I used to teach this, and I call bullshit on myself on this one, is for Zach comes in just with one hand and it grabs me around the throat. You know, we call that zombie attack, you know, and there's a whole bunch of ways to get out of it. Some of the less effective ways is you'll see guys drive their arms down, really. Not a physics major, I'll tell you that much. You know, and coming from underneath, you know, yeah, you can come from over top, but you can't just smash down on the arms. You've got to roll it off, okay? You've got to strip that grip by rolling it off and changing your shape and protecting your neck by moving it away from the pressure. So I don't like that sort of stuff. I don't like this sort of stuff. He can bear down on my neck and I'm not going to be able to pull that off. That's just bullshit, you know? And if it's working on the mat, it's because it's just working on the mat. As soon as someone comes in and hasn't read the script and really grabs you, you know, that's going to turn to shit. One of my faves, really, is this, to reach over, put my thumb in the webbing and get a wrist lock. I mean, I'm a relatively strong guy, but, you know, I couldn't pull this off against a woman half my size who had a pretty good grip and just didn't want to let it happen because the leverages are so poor for me here. You know, when you see this stuff working on the mat, the other guy's feeding it. And when they're flipping in the air, I go, oh, Jesus, what's going on? You do the same thing. You swing your arm over and roll it off. You know, it's a roll and rip. You can shrug your shoulder and roll it off. But reaching across with this arm to that side shoulder, the leverages are so poor for me. I call bullshit on that one, you know. You're better off doing roll and rip and stripping the grips, okay, than you are trying to do some convoluted maneuver. If you're doing wrist locks, you know, I don't say they don't work, it's just that in certain environments. I like wrist locks when I've got the wrist and the elbow in a figure four, you know what I mean? I've got a few positions of control. That works for me. That works in some close guard stuff. You know, we pull that off from time to time. But this sort of stuff where one arm's working against the opposite shoulder and it's, you know, the other guy flips in the air and pulls over, I say, nah, I call bullshit on that. You know, if someone's got hold of your throat, and the other arguments are, oh, you attack their eyes. What if I can't reach them? You do this, you do that. My number one priority is to get it off my throat. And then whatever happens next is whatever happens next. But, you know, when they talk about, you know, hitting pressure points in the armpit and stuff like that, I call bullshit on that too, okay? Because if the other guy's driven and he hasn't read the script and he's got, you know, a bit of mongrel dog, it's not going to work, okay? And I've only got 6 seconds on average before I start passing out. And how effective do you think you're going to be after 5 seconds, 6 seconds, falling asleep? None of that's going to work. Okay, so you need to do what I call broad stroke techniques that my brain can access, my body can commit to muscle memory when I'm under pressure, when the shit's hit the fan, when it's real, okay? All that fine motor skill stuff, it's great to do, don't get me wrong, and you will eventually be able to access it, but in early days of training and even throughout your career, those broad stroke techniques, they're lifesavers. All right, thanks, Zach. Thanks, guys.